To one of our top stories tonight, the government has launched an online survey to gather views on how to rejuvenate shops in the heartlands. HDB has about 15,000 shops spread across town centres and neighbourhood areas. The survey comes as Singaporeans are increasingly going online to fulfil their shopping needs.
And for more on this, we're joined now by Dr. Lynda Wee, Adjunct Professor at the Nanyang Business School at NTU. Dr. Wee, thanks for joining us, Professor. Now, does online shopping, what threat does that pose to the survival of heartland shops?
That's an interesting question. I think the power or the bargaining power of HDB shops has been eroded by online shopping. I mean, if you're a heartland retailer, you are near to the customers. But now with online, they can bring the goods to the doorstep. So that has been eroded. And if you are in the neighborhood, you get to know your shoppers better. An online retailer can do that because they have the data, they could mine it, and they know their customers. And as a result, they could recommend, and they also have that relationship building. So I think all this affects the HDB retailers.
Professor, during the pandemic, the government has provided a great deal of assistance to heartland shops to tide through this. We've got the CDC vouchers as an example. As of January the 10th, over $28 million worth of vouchers were actually spent. How far do these schemes go to truly providing assistance to heartland shops and what they need?
I think what it gives you is a short-term immediate reaction. It's kind of a knee-jerk because of the social distancing and the need not to travel. We just run out there and get it, and we have the vouchers. But I think the heartland retailers have to think long-term. If anything else, they need to adapt. Okay, they are charming because they are around the customers. The community is there. And so they need to understand the community. I would say they need to adapt. They need to digitize because not only do you get higher productivity, but with data, with digitization, you get the data. And when you analyze the data, you know the trends. And I think in the long term, there are new things that we can look at. Given the hot property prices, it could be that the young homeowner, the first-time homeowner, could be like in NTU, our university students could be HDB dwellers. Why not ask them what they want in the shop? I mean, HDB is a very compelling residential home. Perhaps they would want things like a gym, which you have it in the condominium, or, co-working space right at the foot of the building. So I think interviewing the customers, the community who are residing in HDB, finding out what they want. So I would say to adapt to the people you're serving, to digitize, to get information about them, and to differentiate, because Singapore is so diverse. If you talk about durian and temple trips, you think Chongpan, why not for the estates there's near tertiary institutions, we can use it as a test bed for budding retailers, because the malls would tend to go for tried and tested retailers. So this is a good place for budding retailers to try out. So there's a lot of things that they can prototype, and that's more long-term.
Professor Wee, you mentioned we need to adapt, and that tends to go with, again, you suggested, going digital, digitizing your business. But in a way, going online is not the only way to remake your business. For example, these shops, there are different kinds of so-called heartland shops. Surely we should not all just digitize. It depends on what it offers, who is looking for these goods or services. What sort of suggestions, beyond just saying going digital, is there a better way of doing this?
I totally agree. Digitization is an enabler, but end of the day, it's really being relevant to the community. So one thing they should tap on, they are very charming because they're very near to the locations, they are near to the residents, and they should play up on that. So I think there's an opportunity for them to go beyond products, transactions. It used to be because of the housing estates, then you have the HDB shops that satisfy your daily needs. These are really good for perishables. But beyond that, how about services? They can consider services like, say, fitness club. For example, right now, they are not at home when the last mile delivery. Can all these shops help out, especially in the delivery of perishables?
And Professor, to your point about remaining relevant, you've said that heartland shops must also basically find better ways to serve their customers. And my mind goes to brands like Bengawan Solo, to Creamier as an example, these very Singapore brands that got their start in the heartlands. You mentioned the fact that you feel they could be good places to test bed ideas. For young entrepreneurs, though, would these heartland areas be the best place to get started in small business if their hope is perhaps to internationalize or to scale up eventually?
Why not? Why not? This location is quirky. I think you need to know the resident, the catchment areas. For example, I want to start something like the ice cream. Dawson is a good area, Queensway, young population. So I would say, why not? And do not be afraid of the location, because you can tap social media to spread the word around. So I think you have to really differentiate and be really good in what you do. And through social media, they will come and find you. So I would strongly encourage all these young entrepreneurs who wanted a different space to try out, to prototype their business concept, to try it. And end of the day, I think the mix of the catchment area will change. People are looking at HDB, for example, right now, with the environmental issues, with online transportation being so efficient, the attraction to own a car is no longer there. Okay, so then being close to the residents makes a lot of sense. So to rethink, to find out who are in your community, build a relationship with them. And unlike the online retailers, they are not at your doorstep. They deliver to your doorsteps, but they are not on locations. What these heartland retailers have is their own locations. They can build relationship with you. They can give you more than economic value. They can play that social value. They can help you out too. I mean, if you're on a long holiday, they can help to look out for you.
Dr. Wee, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on this move to rejuvenate the heartland shops. That was Dr. Lynda Wee, Adjunct Professor at the Nanyang Business School at NTU.